Hello friends and welcome to Wheel of Nazar. My name is Bobby Howell, your host, and here, love wins. Okay, let's jump back into this here. What I've done is I've drawn up a linear chart to show how the planet Nibiru will orbit the sun and will move in and out of each great dimension. In my previous videos, I have revealed that the Mazzaroth is not just the zodiac, or as we perceive the zodiac, which is just the 12 astrological signs, giving us what we would call a full precession of equinox, but also as a determinant of when we go in and out of the great dimensions. And as we move through the zodiacal ages and that precession of equinox, we are also moving in and out of great dimensions. Now, many of us know that we're moving into the Age of Aquarius, the fifth dimension. And the planet Nibiru is the great hand on the clock, if you will, of the cosmic clock in the heavens. And we're going to see here a little bit more than my previous episode on a linear chart of how this works. In the year 1440 BC, Job speaks with Yahweh. Yahweh asked him a question: can you bring forth the Mazzaroth? And I know Job's answer was, yes, I can. And at this point here, at 1440 BC, we will move forward 3,600 years and land right here on 2160 AD. This is when we officially cross that nanosecond, that point in time and space where we are officially in the Age of Aquarius. Now, everyone can feel the energy now. We can all feel the energy. We are moving out of the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, the Age of Aquarius. I know many people believe that you're going from the third to the fifth. You are in the fourth dimension with me here as we speak. But we are at the tail end of it. And that energy is so strong and powerful right now. And that the veil is literally just lifting. And everyone is learning much more about our connection to Source. And we're also learning about a lot of the great lies that we have been taught. And one of those great lies is that there is no year zero. And I will refer to our friendly Google here. And this is in reference to the Gregorian calendar. And it states here, there is no year zero in the Gregorian or Julian calendar system. The timeline transitions directly from 1 BC before Christ to AD 1 Anno Domini. Because of this, it creates a quirk in the centuries. Here it says the historical accuracy. Historically, Jesus was likely born around 4 BC, meaning the calendar calculation was already off by several years. And I disagree with that. And I'm going to show proof that that is not true. Here, when we move forward to the fifth, we can now calculate back to the first dimension. And what I've done is I've broken this particular section up to show a period of 10,000 years from the fourth dimension, the dimension of Cancer, and the Age of Aquarius. And we moved from Cancer into Gemini, into Taurus, into Aries, and then at this point here, at year zero, we entered the astrological age of Pisces, but we are still in the fourth dimension of Cancer. And we can see in the Old Testament that the Israelites revealed to us that they were very much aware of when we were in the age of Aries with Abraham and the ram in the thicket, and then we can move further back, and we can see Moses with the children brought out of Egypt at the base of the mountain, and with the making of the golden calf to represent the age of Taurus. And we move a little further back through the Gemini to Cancer. Now, each astrological age is 2,160 years. So here's your zodiacal age. Now, many people kind of quibble over this, and some say it's 2,000 years. I've seen other people suggest that it's 3,400 years, and I am in agreement with others that it is 2,160 years. The reason being that if we multiply 2,160 by 12 zodiacal signs, we will come up with a precession of equinox. This breakdown shows not only that we will start here at 0 degrees, move forward to the first dimension of Libra, the second dimension of Taurus, to the third dimension of Sagittarius, fourth dimension Cancer, fifth dimension Age of Aquarius. We will then move into the age of Virgo at the year 12,960. Many of you will know that number as being half of a precessional cycle. We'll go from there to the seventh dimension of Aries. We will then move into the year 34,560 AD, into the eighth dimension of Scorpio, the ninth being Gemini, the 10th being Capricorn, and the 11th being Leo. And then we come back to the 12th dimension. Now, again, this is a linear chart. Time is not linear, it is cyclical. It's cyclical. It is determined by the planetary bodies that orbit the sun, and the sun orbiting the galactic center. And this will not work if you don't have your 0. These calculations do not work. And I'm going to show you why this works. If you were to use any of these calculations with a -1 BC or a +1 AD, without this point, year 0, this point when the Ascended Master Yeshua was born, year 0, a place in time and space when Christ's consciousness illuminated the earth and the heavens. We can see embodied in the mythologies of the New Testament that Jesus was a great magi, a hierophant out of Egypt. And the mythologies surrounding him is encoded highly advanced knowledge of astrophysics around the mythologies of the man Jesus. And I'm still learning how to teach on camera, so if I'm repetitive, just bear with me. I'm going to get better as I go. And so when you start here at this point, if you go back, right here I break it down for you. You're going to have 4 zodiacal ages before you come back here to this point, which is the year 8,640 BC. It takes 3 orbits of Nibiru to come to this point of 10,800 years. And then we will move back to the third dimension. We'll go back 10,800 years back to the second dimension. Then we're going to move back to the first dimension of Libra. And then we move back to 0 degrees. And I say 0 degrees because you're going to see that this linear chart bends into a circle. And remember, the ancient Israelites told us this in Isaiah 40:22. The earth is a circle. "12 dimensions times 10,800 years equals 129,600 years. This is half of a great precession. The Earth moves through 5 precessional cycles. Totaling 129,600 years and totaling 12 great dimensions. The order of the dimensions differs from that of the zodiacal ages. So each here at year 0, you can see we are now in the Piscean age. At year 0, at the birth of Christ, we went into the Piscean age. If you want to follow the biblical canon, and that where it states that where the beliefs that Herod died at either 4 or 6 BC, none of this works. None of this works. This is a great lie. And why do I say it's a great lie? Because the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25 states that the Antichrist will think to change times and laws. And we're going to go into that more as we move to some future episodes. It will think to change times and laws. Right here, it is trying to change times and laws by having us believe there is no year 0. As we move through these zodiacal ages, you will see that each zodiacal age that we go through will line up with its own great dimensional age. But the order of the dimensional age differs from the zodiacal age. Nevertheless, each great dimension retains its opposition that you would find within the zodiacal age. So in other words, when we're here in the great age of Libra, because I'm a Libra, when you put this into a cyclic form, which I've already done for you in previous episodes, you will see that Aries is in opposition to Libra. And this is just a kind of a recap. I wanted to break this down a little bit more so you can see this, that this is what the book of Job is telling us. Now, while the book of Job was not written in the year 1500 BC, it was written somewhere probably like 250, maybe 300 BC, most likely at the Library of Alexandria. Although it probably retained, there's probably some other, there was some other knowledge where that was passed down or in written form, which I don't know of any copies that exist of that. It was backdated to the year 1440 BC specifically because the Mazzaroth is the planet Nibiru. And the Mazzaroth is not just the zodiacal ages that take us through the precession of equinox, but the great dimensions. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to pause this video in a second, and we're going to switch this, and I'm going to show you what a cyclic, how this goes into cyclic form, which I've done in my previous videos. And let's pause that for a second. I'm learning about the pause button versus just reshooting the whole video again. So I wanted just to make this comment here. This is another Google search here on the year 0, and you can Google this yourself too. And please comment below if you like what you're seeing here. Hit that like, subscribe, and please share this with your friends, and comment below. Let me know what's going on, like if you have any questions, and or just anything you'd like to add to it, because I'm positive that as this information disseminates across the world, everyone in the world is going to do far greater things with this than I've done. But we have a lot of ground to cover. We are just getting started here. Here, Google, no one eliminated year 0. It never existed in our calendar system. When Dionysius Exiguus designed the Anno Domini AD system in 525 AD, he did not use a 0 because the concept was unknown in European Roman numerals. The calendar goes directly from 1 BC to 1 AD. And now, and it says the monk established the counting system starting at year 1 AD to calculate Easter dates, bypassing the need for a 0. Well, I disagree with that. And I think there's a little bit of chicanery going on there, but we'll get into that at a later date here. And as we move back to the 0 dimension Pisces, and as we move forward to the 12th dimension Pisces, what happens? We arrive here at the year 77760. Wow, what's wrong with my ink there? 7. Forgive me, I put the comma in the wrong place. 77760. As you move back here, this year will be 51840 BC, and this is how we calculate our timeline, and this is what the ancient Israelites are referring to. This right here is a linear form of something that is known as, which I have revealed to be the Wheel of Nazar. Pause. I need laser lights. Okay, we're back. Now, what we're going to do here is we are now going to bend that linear timeline, and we're going to put it into a circle of 360 degrees. 51840 BC. We move around and we come to this point here. The point of 144 degrees, where the ascended Master Yeshua incarnated here and illuminated the earth. Christ consciousness. And we calculate our time, because time is real. Time is very real. How you've been taught to view time is a lie. Year 0. We now move forward and we come to this point, which my previous videos I showed you was a 324 degree mark. And we come back up here to the 360 degree mark at the year 77760. And then we begin the cycle over again at the 0 degree mark. And this is Pisces. As we move through this cycle, here at the 72 degree mark, the 144, the 216, and the 288 is a great precession. These points here are a precession, so I can just, I'll put a P there for you for precession. So 5 precessional cycles totaling 129,600 years. And this you're going to see now. We're also going to be moving to a lot of numerology in here. And out of this concept here is where you get this. The man, Yeshua, incarnated, was born in the year 0 and was born of a virgin. He was born of a half a great processional cycle and 10 processional cycles, being 259,200 years, 200,000 years, being a great precession. I like to read something here from the late great Manly P. Hall, The Wisdom of the Knowing Ones. In his chapter, Gnosticism, the Key to Esoteric Christianity, the knowledge aspect of wisdom is philosophy. It is the power to perceive the divine nature, the divine will, and the divine purpose in all structures, substances, and processes of nature. Please go out and hike. Get in there. Go hug a tree. True philosophy is an experience of consciousness toward the discovery of truth. And one of the decisions I made 10 years ago was to discover the truth about this book, the Holy Bible. And I had spent some years studying with the Seventh-day Adventists many years ago. I never became a member of the church, and I could never devote myself to that organization. But I was very fascinated with the prophecies of Daniel, the book of Revelations, and some other things. And there was something different going on with me. So a little bit about myself. I could never, I was always told to develop this relationship with Jesus Christ and everything. And I felt really like I wasn't attracted to doing that. I was attracted to uncovering the prophetic messages. And I'm not alone in this here. There are many people at work here who are unlocking the great mysteries of the Bible. And when I say that, I also mean they're unlocking how it's been misrepresented to us in society. And some of it is purposeful. Some of it is by honest mistakes. And you're going to have to jump in and determine that for yourself. But stay tuned, because more will be revealed here. And the will of the Nazar, I'm just going to make a little reference here. I'm going to go back to the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 7. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was a sapphire. And part of this channel here is to show you proof that the ancient Israelites encoded highly advanced astrophysics within the Old Testament, and that the New Testament writers did the same as well, beginning with the Gospels, the Gospel of Mark, but more so the letters of Paul, being the 7 authenticated letters of Paul, being the first letters or books written of the New Testament canon, and Paul himself being a Merkabah mystic. And if you want to learn more about that, I would highly recommend tuning in to the channel Esoterica with Dr. Justin Sledge, and does a great analysis of that very thing there. And the Israelites, what I will be showing you here on this channel is that the Israelites, as they left Egypt, and we can see this Exodus story in the back, but it's not quite the way it's portrayed to be, but there is something happening. And I'm going to show you and share with you really that the Israelites are essentially developing their own cosmology. and they're breaking away from that of the Egyptians. And then we can see some later encounters as they're under the Babylonian kind of rule for a while with the Chaldeans, and we're going to jump into some of that later too. But the Nazarites, there we can see in the book of Lamentations are referring to a very pure form of a person, both in mind, body, and spirit. And you know, my thoughts are this, is that we all go through life and we make mistakes, we learn, or we make mistakes and we don't learn right away and we do them over again, and then we learn. But ultimately, the guiding principle for this is love. And I'd like to leave you with this. This is Unveiled Mysteries. And this is published by the Saint Germain publications, is that it? The Saint Germain Foundation, Saint Germain Press, written by Godfrey Ray King. And on page 57, the Sahara Desert, quote, "When the children of earth look away from love, they are deliberately and consciously choosing the experience of chaos. Whoever seeks to exist without love cannot survive long anywhere in creation. Such efforts are bound to bring failure, misery, and dissolution. Whatever lacks love must return to chaos, the unformed, so its substance may be used over again in combination with love and thus produce a new and perfect form. This is the law of universal as well as individual life. It is immutable, irrevocable, eternal, yet beneficent. For creation in form exists that God may have something upon which to pour out love and so express in action." How beautiful. This was given to me by a very wonderful woman in my life, and I am definitely learning so much more about love myself. That statement alone here in my previous episode, you can see the tension here between the 144 degrees of Master Christie and the 324 degrees of the, if you remember, of the fallen angels, because time and distance and frequency are all one and the same. And as you move around from year 0 to the 324 degree mark, you will come up to the year 64,800. And that's that polarity, that tension. That's where you can see that mythology of Christ essentially casting out the demon legion, for they are many, because they are the fallen angels, which are actually the fallen angels. I'll see you next time.